Hello everyone, welcome to Hue at Home. I'm Tracy Koga. They're back, and I'm talking about all of the talented actors, singers, and dancers coming back to the stage. I'll be sitting down with artistic director Justin Danyluk and actress Kelley Hirst. They are in rehearsals with the Dramatic Theatre Company for Hello, Dolly. And then as well, I'll take you back to the Winnipeg Women's Conference. It was such a great success, and I had a wonderful sit-down chat with Rhae Redekop from Pinnacle. So now, let's go into rehearsal, take a sneak peek behind the scenes of Hello, Dolly. Well, I want to give a very warm welcome to Justin and Kelley here on Hue at Home, and we are so happy that theater is back, and I am sure both of you are happy too as well. Like you were just in dress rehearsal, so how was rehearsal?
Really good. You know what? We had our band in for one of the first goes with the cast today, so it was really nice to see the whole thing come together. And yeah, it was just really great to see months and months of work kind of come together, and it was wonderful.
Oh, okay. And introducing Justin and Kelley. Justin, now, you as the artistic director, you know, of course, it goes without saying, 2 years of Stage is Dark, and,
yeah,
you know, actors and yourself, I mean, in isolation and trying to piece together things. What was it like for you during that whole period of time? I mean, what kind of thoughts are going through your head? Are we going to reopen? What is that going to look like? You know,
yeah, good question. All those questions we asked ourselves, I asked myself many times. The first year of the pandemic, we didn't do too much. We were just moving into a new studio space. We had just moved into a brand new studio space, and we had so many things on the horizon. We had Fringe, we had a tour to Gimli, and then the pandemic hit, and that just canceled everything. And we're like, oh, like, why would you cancel a show that's in the summertime? This will be better in like 4 months. You know, remember that statement. And then when we got to you know, May, June, things, you know, were still shut down. So we kind of floated for the first year, and then we decided, well, we can't float anymore. And thankfully, you know, there were things, you know, through the government and bridge grants and things like that helped us sustain ourselves. But we decided to get into the realm of virtual shows because we're creative people where we need to do things. So we did a virtual Christmas show on Christmas Eve, and it was a Suicified Christmas Carol, and it was, you know, the play on the Christmas Carol, and it was nice to have that, you know, that acting bone back in again. And then shortly after, we did Anne of Green Gables virtually live for spring break, and we did the show every day as if it were a real show. So it was on Zoom. The actors came to the stage, and we performed like it was a real show. It was in front of a camera and not in front of the audience. So it was a really interesting experience. And then with you know, with vaccines and lifting of public health measures and all those wonderful things, we were starting to be able to see, you know, there was an opportunity again to start to think about getting in front of people. And when we were starting to put together Hello, Dolly last year, we weren't sure if it was going to be in front of 25% capacity, 50% capacity, if we were able to get back to 100, or whether, you know, where it was at. And, you know, when we started with the cast in January, we were confident, okay, we're going to be at least at 50% capacity. And then all of a sudden we got the word that we were able to do a full capacity show. While our venue is still requiring, you know, that vaccine mandate and the mask mandate, which is great. It's great for public safety. And so we're really happy to be able to get in front of people again. And, you know, the actors are returning to their dressing rooms. The stage managers are calling places. It's showtime, and it's really exciting to be back again.
Oh my goodness. Oh, and Kelley, for you as an actress, yes, and during the pandemic, you know, performing in front of a little camera, I guess I'm used to it, but now the transition to performing in front of a live audience, what is that going to be like for you?
Well, it'll be like coming home. truly, for the pandemic. I was actually, I kept myself busy during the pandemic. I was writing a lot. And then I also all last year when we were kind of in quasi lockdown, I built a lot of the costumes. I designed the show. It's a huge costume show. It's a huge set show. Go big or go home. And I built all of my costume changes. I had all last year to do it. And I also built 2 of the gowns for the other 2 female leads. So they look fabulous. And then suddenly I had 20 more people to dress too. So I was busy.
You were busy, yes. The show goes on. So Justin, how many are in the theater company itself, or is it just you pick up, like we say in the business, freelancers, or through auditions? How does the theater
good question.
run?
Well, we have a small staff that runs the company throughout the seasons, and this season is looking a little different just because we usually do 5 or 6 shows a year. We're coming back with 1 show this year and maybe 2 next year because we're starting to build ourselves up, but our business model has changed a little bit. But the actors that have come to us, they all came via our season auditions. And so we find them when they come to see us for auditions and through the grapevine, and we think we know somebody who would be perfect for that role. And so we built a onstage family. Every show that we do, we build a new onstage family.
Oh my goodness. And aren't you amazed at the depth of talent right here in our city? And this company is proof.
Well, 100%, and I'm glad that you brought that up. Manitoba talent, Winnipeg talent is it's fabulous, and we have the people here to put on amazing shows. We don't have to go looking elsewhere. We have the people here, and that's 100% proof. The proof's in the pudding with the show.
Kelley, for you, how did you get into this whole acting and singing and costume designing?
We've been partners in crime since 2014?
Yeah, Kelley has been in almost every one of dramatic theaters,
pretty
almost
much
30 shows,
But this is a bucket list role for me. We had been talking like kind of pie in the sky. Oh yeah, it would be nice to do Hello Dolly. Nah, it's too big a show for us, and this, that, and the other thing. But then last year it was about a year or so ago. At this time, it was a lovely spring day. We were sitting out on the patio. And we just are like, let's do Hello Dolly. Let's just go for it. And then the ball started rolling. This is a role I have always wanted to play. I've never had a lead like this in a musical theater show before. I was Mrs. Potiphar in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. A couple of years back, which is a small part. It was the Joan Collins role, so. But still, it was just a few lines, and then the rest of the time I was like the third peon to the left. So this is a huge jump for me, but wow. It's something different than karaoke every Saturday. But here we are.
Oh, well, congratulations, and it's certainly a role well-deserved. And before we go to break, Justin, for yourself, leading a group like this, and, it goes with all of the pains and aches of having a production and things go wrong and things go well, but what is it going to be like for you when that curtain goes up and all of your company are on stage giving their 110%?
It's going to be a magical moment. It started today when the band started playing the first note of the overture. And when that curtain goes up, it's I've always said that this show is always my favorite. And I always say, as we go, this show is my favorite. But you know what? This is going to be the most special show out of almost 30 shows of producing. This is going to be this is going to be magic because we finally made it back. This cast has brought us back. and it's going to be in a magical moment when that curtain goes up. I can't even tell you how, like, that's just the word that I'm going to use is magical. I'm going to have a tear in my eye, I'll tell you that.
Aw, well, you know, it is so wonderful and heartwarming to see both of you and how much passion you have. So we're going to continue on this conversation. Don't go away, because we have to give away all the information too on when people can see the show. But during the break, I will take us back to the Winnipeg Women's Conference and a great sit-down chat with Rhae Redekop from Pinnacle. So don't go away. You're watching Hue at Home. So, Rhae, let's get down into it. Getting a job, writing a resume. How hard is it?
So, you know, we're talking about the Great Resignation right now. People are applying to any number of positions, and when I meet with them, my job is to suss out their accomplishments, how they've moved a company forward, what they've done to save money or make money. And a lot of people have a very hard time drilling into those details, and I'm like, well, that's just with me. By the time you get to the interviewer, you know, at the employer that you want to be with, you need to have those answers really dialed in. So, you know, when you're keeping your resume updated and when you're responding to interview questions, there's a lot of prep that goes into that.
What are some of the key things that you tell, and let's be specific for women, because here we are at the Winnipeg Women's Conference, that they need to have on that resume?
So, and I think, you know, I always hit on the high points of how did you make a company money? How did you save a company money? How did you improve a process? And typically the responses that I receive from women downplay all of those accomplishments, and I really have to push and dig to get some, you know, some substance out of their answers. And they're like, oh, I just do this. It's not a big, I'm like, but it is a big deal. I guarantee you, you would not be on payroll if you did not move the company forward somehow, right? So I think that specifically for women, we provide a service of, you know, this additional step of interview coaching to say you do have to brag about yourself a little bit in an interview, which is inherently difficult for us to do, but here's maybe how, right? And so we work through the framing of those answers together so that somebody, by the time they get in front of one of our clients, feels very comfortable in identifying and describing their accomplishments.
So you're in charge primarily with recruitment, but recruitment at the higher level, the corporate level. What are the ratios now between men and women getting those jobs, or even, you know, coming to you and saying, here's what I want? You
know what? And the area that I focus on specifically is engineering. So I see a huge disconnect just in terms of the number of female candidates versus male candidates. Like, I'm going to say it's probably 80-20, if not more. So personally, I get a little bit excited to work with a female engineer. I'm like, what are we going to do? You know, where can we take you? Because yeah, there's just such a gap in the industry, and where we see a lot more of those positions being filled is, quite frankly, as candidates from overseas. Right, where as a culture they encourage their women to go into the sciences and engineering and medicine. So talking to those female candidates is always such a pleasure.
Oh my goodness. And like you said, you get excited. What is it like here in Manitoba for women?
To get a
job?
To get a job, I feel like companies have come a long way. Companies are prioritizing diversity on their teams, you know, whether it's women or culture, and they are more open to having those conversations. Now, I speak about it from the recruitment side of things. I have a certain benefit in that I have spoken with clients, I have spoken with candidates, and I'm better able to make that match between what both are looking for. But I would definitely say that there's more of a push to look at diversity and how cultures can, or how companies can round out their culture.
Yeah. So Rhae, and I kind of, as you're talking, I'm almost seeing you as a matchmaker. So how exciting is it for you when, you have a client and you find that employer and that great connection?
Yeah. Oh, there's tears sometimes. I had a woman start a new position today, and she did the work, right? Like, she prepared for this position. She wanted it. She went for it. She got it. The offer. It was it was a moment. Yeah.
Oh, and for yourself too. I did just reading a little bit about you, and I wanted to ask the question: is that we talk about everybody? Boom, it's like their first job, and that's it. It took you a little while to find this job with. And I want to put the plug in, Pinnacle, Manitoba owned and run.
Absolutely.
And you just mentioned 20 years.
20 years this year.
How was, what was the experience like finding your place in Pinnacle? What was it that made you say that this is it, like I found my dream job?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, I had been interviewing with 2 different recruitment companies, but more because I was considering making a move. And they both came back to me and said, have you considered being a recruiter? And I was like, no, it's literally never occurred to me ever. Yeah, exactly. And so I knew somebody in the industry, and I asked her some questions. I'm not going to lie, Pinnacle went out of their way to woo me a little bit. There were several people that reached out, took me to lunch, explained kind of the emotional roller coaster that I was about to embark on, right? Our product is the only thing with free will, so there's a lot of ups and downs, and ultimately the culture that they've built at Pinnacle is just so unique and so special. And so when the offer came, it was just kind of jump in, and 6 years later, here I am.
Well, and hopefully 20 more.
Yeah, I'm sure they would like that.
And I guess maybe, the takeaway today for women that are going to be listening to you, and also my question is it the same thing as it was, maybe 10 years ago, that you actually only worked at one job? And is it okay now to have 5, 10, 15 different experiences, I'll put it? Yeah,
and coming from somebody that had a lot of different experiences before finding the right fit, I don't want to encourage people to move around every 6 months. I do think that it's important to give it a real shot. And a lot of candidates can get cold feet kind of within the first few weeks or the first few months. But I do think that it's important to get those experiences, not to necessarily find your passions. I think that's probably something that's tossed around a little too often, but to find your strengths and to find that flow state where you feel like you're doing really important work that matters. I would encourage anybody to get as much experience as possible.
What's up? Ooh, say what, say what, say what? Girl, you know what's up? Ooh, say what, say what, say what? So tell me what's up? Tell me what's up? I'm begging you. I'm begging you. Girl, you know what's up? Say I'm begging you, and I'm on you. So tell me what's up? Tell me what's up?
welcome back to Hue at Home. My guests are Justin Danyluk and Kelley Hirst from the Dramatic Theatre Company. We're talking Hello, Dolly, and I'm going to talk to Kelley. Kelley, you had mentioned at the beginning, this is your dream role, roles for women. And maybe, you know, Justin, you can kind of jump in too. The roles for women, especially in musical theater now, have they grown? Because that's always been an issue.
I believe they have.
Yes?
Yeah, I believe they have. In fact, I am busier now than I was when I was in my 20s and 30s. I'm getting cast more now than I was, you know, 30 years ago.
Wow.
So, you know, the roles are there, and I think as the boomers, the baby boomers, you know, us that refuse to get old, and refuse to be irrelevant, as we are getting older, then the roles are maturing as well. So they're there.
Okay.
You've got to be in the right place at the right time. But in this case, you know, we actually created this show from the ground up, Justin and me. So, you know, we were the ones who said, make it so. But now we're talking about the next one, so I won't give away any spoilers right now. But the Dream Team are going to be at it again.
Oh, okay, and there'll definitely be a good role for a seasoned performer like yourself, Kelley.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so well, let's talk about this production of Hello, Dolly. How close is it to the original, and what are some, obviously there's some changes because, you know, you may not have the same size of cast, and also, you know, the caliber too, right, Justin?
Scale down somewhat, but I think we're still pretty close.
Yeah, so the people may not know this, but the show itself is written, well, it's based off The Matchmaker, the play The Matchmaker. But Jerry Herman, who did Godspell and the whole whack of other musical theater gems, composed this one. And if anybody out there knows anything about Jerry Herman, he's not known for easy musicals. There are, you know, notes higher than the clouds that these ladies have to get to, the requirements and the caliber. You know, you just mentioned that word caliber. Yeah, it's scaled down a little bit, but you know what? The caliber is there. You need to have seasoned people to do this show. It's probably one of the most challenging pieces in Broadway history, just because of how it's written and the set requirements and the people on stage. So yeah, definitely scaled back, but you know what?
We make 19 voices sound like 60.
Yes.
And you know what? And we have about 19, 20 people on stage. That's probably where it's scaled back a little bit. You know, we don't have 15 cooks doing the waiter's gallop and all those kind of stuff, which we did. But you know what? The people that we have are truly magical. And you know what? Yeah, you're right when you say, you know, 19 people sound like 60, because we have some really, really talented singers and some really awesome dancers. So.
And the theater is beautiful too, really, really conducive to a musical like this. So.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's get down to it. What are the dates for the show, show times, and where is the theater? Where are you performing Hello, Dolly?
Sure. Well, the show opens next Thursday, so we're running April 28th through May 1st. Where we perform out of the theater at University of St. Boniface. So yeah, so that's where the show is. Tickets are $20, a steal of a deal, and for what you're going to see, honestly amazing. And tickets can be bought at dramatictheater.net.
Okay, well, it's been so wonderful to meet both of you. Congratulations and merit, as they say. Now, we do have an excerpt from Hello, Dolly, and I will let Justin lead us into that piece. And congratulations to both of you and all of the cast. Thank you so much for being on here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, you're about to see, Jerry Herman at its best. The song is It Takes a Woman, features our Horace Van de Gelder as Rich Smith, and his gang of the male ensemble, and it's a gem of the time. I'm not going to spoil it anymore. It's called It Takes a Woman.
It takes a woman all powdered and pink to joyously clean out the drain in the sink. And it takes an angel with long golden lashes and soft dressing fingers for dumping the ashes. Yes, it takes a woman, a dainty woman, a sweetheart, a mistress, a wife. Oh yes, it takes a woman, a fragile woman, to bring you the sweet things in life. The frail young maiden who's constantly there for washing and bluing and shoeing the mare. And it takes a female for setting the table and weaning the Guernsey and cleaning the stable. Yes, it takes a woman, a dainty woman, a sweetheart, a mistress, a wife. Oh yes, it takes a woman, a fragile woman, to bring you the sweet things in life. And so she'll work until infinity. 3 cheers for femininity. Rah, 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 FPMIT1. Get out of here! And in the winter she'll shovel the ice and lovingly set out the traps for the mice. She's a joy and treasure, for practically speaking, to whom can you turn when the plumbing is leaking? To that dainty woman, that fragile woman, that sweetheart, that mistress, that wife. Oh yes, it takes a woman, a husky woman, to bring you the sweet things in life. Oh yes, it takes a woman, a dainty woman, a sweetheart, a mistress, a wife. Oh yes, it takes a woman, a fragile woman, to bring you the sweet things in life.
So the Hive is a climbing and fitness facility, so we're bouldering only, which means no ropes or harnesses. We use mats for protection. The 4 pillars of our business are climbing, education, health and wellness, and community, and those aspects all kind of come together to create like a 5-star climbing experience.
I want to give a big thank you to all of our special guests on today's show and leave you with this question. What is your favorite musical and why? We want to know, so send us an email to hello@ilikehue.com, or you can message us on Facebook and Instagram at iLikeHue. But for now, stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you next time on Hue at Home.